The Boy Who Dared to Count the Stars. In a quiet seaside town where the waves whispered secrets to the shore and the wind carried the echoes of old legends, lived a boy named Elias. He was unlike the other children who spent their days running through the cobblestone streets or helping their parents with daily chores. Elias had a peculiar habit. Every night he would sit on the rocky cliffs, gazing up at the sky, trying to count the stars. His father, a humble fisherman, would often shake his head and say, "Elias, what good is counting stars? They will always be there, whether you count them or not." His mother, who ran a small sewing shop, would smile and tousle his hair. "Let the boy dream," she'd say, though even she didn't understand why he was so captivated by the endless sky. The townspeople, however, were not as kind. They would chuckle whenever they saw him scribbling in his notebook, marking tiny dots to keep track of each star. "What a foolish boy," they murmured, "wasting his time on something impossible." Elias didn't care. Every night he continued his work, convinced that if he tried hard enough, he could count them all. A mysterious visitor. One evening, a stranger arrived in town. He was an old man with silver hair and sharp, knowing eyes that gleamed with curiosity. The townsfolk whispered that he was an astronomer, a man who studied the stars. That night, as Elias sat by the shore, carefully recording another page in his notebook, the old man approached him. "What are you doing, boy?" he asked. Elias didn't look away from the sky, counting the stars. The old man chuckled. "And how many have you counted so far?" Elias hesitated. He had lost track many times. Clouds, the movement of the earth, and even the vastness of the sky itself made it nearly impossible to continue where he left off, but he didn't want to admit that. "I don't know yet," he finally said, "but I won't stop until I do." The old man sat beside him, silent for a long moment. Then he said, "Do you know why people say it's impossible to count the stars?" Elias frowned. "Because there are too many." "Yes, but also because the stars are always moving. The universe is alive, shifting, growing. What you see tonight won't be the same tomorrow." Elias looked down at his notebook. He had spent years trying to do something that, by its very nature, could never be completed. For the first time, doubt crept into his heart. Had everyone been right? Had he been wasting his time? Seeing the boy's troubled expression, the old man smiled. "Come with me," he said. Beyond the naked eye, Elias followed the astronomer through the town, past the sleeping houses, up a winding path that led to a small observatory on the hill. Inside, a massive telescope stood like a gateway to another world. "Look through it," the old man urged. Elias hesitated before pressing his eye to the lens. What he saw took his breath away. The sky was no longer just a scattering of tiny white dots. Through the telescope, he saw swirling galaxies, glowing nebulae, and distant planets bathed in ethereal light. The stars weren't just countless, they were infinite, stretching beyond anything he had ever imagined. "They are beautiful," Elias whispered. The astronomer nodded. "You wanted to count the stars. But what if, instead, you studied them? Learned their secrets, shared their stories." Elias's heart raced. For the first time, he realized that his dream wasn't about the numbers. It was about understanding the universe, about discovering the mysteries hidden in the endless night. That night, he didn't go home with a notebook full of numbers. He went home with a heart full of wonder, a dream reborn. From that moment on, Elias's life changed. The old astronomer became his mentor, teaching him about constellations, planetary movements, and the great celestial bodies that had fascinated humankind for centuries. He learned that stars were not just distant lights, they were worlds of their own, burning bright with histories older than the Earth itself. He no longer tried to count the stars. Instead, he wrote about them, painted them, and shared their beauty with anyone willing to listen. Years passed, and Elias grew into a man. He left his small town and traveled to great cities where observatories reached toward the heavens like ancient towers of knowledge. He studied among the best, learning the language of the universe. One day, he returned to the town where it had all begun. The same townspeople who once mocked him now gathered to hear him speak about the wonders beyond the sky. Even his father, the fisherman, and his mother, the seamstress, looked at him with pride. And as he stood beneath the vast night sky, he smiled. He had never counted all the stars, but he had reached for them. And that, he realized, was far more important. I hope this story has inspired you. Learning English can change your life and help you achieve your big dreams. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. I truly value your feedback. Also, for more stories and English learning content, make sure to subscribe. Wishing you all success, and I'll see you in the next video.